I'm Jerri Sutherland with eXp Realty. Today I'm going to be covering part 2 of our City of Galveston Homebuyer Assistance Program. I am posting City of Galveston Homebuyer Assistance Guide and application in the description portion of this video. I'm going to be covering a number of topics today, like minimum property standards, home inspections, re-inspections, required repairs, the amount of the assistance and eligible uses, a participating mortgage lender. I'm going to briefly touch on resale provisions and recapture provisions. I would like you to read that through in the guidelines of the program. Choosing a professional real estate agent, entering into a contract and contract requirements, the application process, the preparation for closing, brief review, and then the definition of gross annual income, net family assets as used to determine program eligibility. Some of these subjects will require a little further reading through the guidelines, like the resale provisions, recapture provisions, and then this gross annual income, net family assets as used to determine eligibility. One thing I do want to say with very much importance is, one, you must occupy the home as your primary residence, and you must occupy the home for a period of 5 years. Otherwise, you are required to pay back this grant. That can be within a 30-day window. So those are two requirements that you really need to think over before you submit your application. Let's get started. Minimum property standards. Minimum property standards set the standard for approved dwellings. Minimum property space requirements prohibit overcrowding and are applied to each assisted dwelling unit. There is a minimum amount of space required in sleeping rooms, which require every dwelling of 2 or more rooms to have 70 square foot of floor space, and every room occupied by more than one occupant is required to have a minimum of an additional 50 square feet. Houses built prior to 1978. Structures built before 1978 must be free from lead-based paint hazards. These structures are subject to a lead-based paint health hazards addendum and inspection to determine the amount of lead on the property and in the home. Acceptable levels of lead may be present as regulated by HUD, the Home Investment Partnerships Act, 24 CFR Part 35 Subpart K, or the Texas Department of Health. All homes assisted through the program that are built prior to 1978 are required to have a visual inspection for lead-based paint hazards. If hazards are discovered, they will have to be addressed by federal, state, and local regulators. A contractor trained in safe work practices must perform the necessary repairs, and at completion, a clearance test must be performed to ensure the lead-based levels are at an acceptable level. All components of the lead-based paint test and stabilization, abatement, and reduction in clearance tests must be performed under contract by licensed, certified workers, subject to approval by the Texas Department of Health. HAP will not pay for stabilization, reduction, and abatement of lead-based paint hazards. Environmental review compliance. The city must conduct the regulatory required environmental review process. This process must be completed to committing any home program funds towards the down payment and closing cost of eligible property. Program required repairs. Once the HAP inspection has been completed, a letter will be issued providing notification of required repairs, if applicable, itemizing all required repairs to the unit in order that the buyers receive the federal funding from the City of Galveston Homebuyer Assistance Program. These repairs will be considered lender-required repairs. If all repairs are not completed As required by the program, the buyer cannot use the HAP funds to purchase the house. Required repairs letter will be forwarded to the buyer's real estate agent, broker, and mortgage lender. When all repairs have been completed, the buyer will need to notify the Grants and Housing Department to conduct a reinspection of the home, which will confirm that all required repairs have been completed. Amount of assistance and eligible uses. Amount of assistance to the buyer. Once the buyers have been determined eligible for the assistance and have committed to the occupancy and affordability commitment, the City of Galveston will provide the buyers with a loan for down payment assistance and closing costs for the purchase of the house, up to $14,500 to eligible participants whose income is up to 80% of the area median income as adjusted for household size. The total amount of assistance is determined by the number of household members, and the anticipated gross annual income of the household cannot exceed the allocated amount. HAP funds cannot be used to pay for repairs to the house. HAP funds cannot be used to pay for lender-required debt relief. Eligible uses of assistance. HAP funds can be used for closing costs and prepaid items and down payment assistance with the following restrictions. Closing costs and prepaid items. HAP can be used to pay for the buyer's customary closing costs, discount points, or an eligible cost under HAP. All of the closing costs are eligible for financing in some degree through HAP, and that's the application fee, the loan origination fee, title insurance, title search, credit report fee, courier fees, appraisal fee, lender inspection fee, survey fee, recording fees, attorney's fees, home warranty, documentation preparation fee, discount points, settlement or closing fee, limitations on closing costs and prepaid items, maximum 30 days interest, 14 months of hazard insurance, 3 months property taxes, mortgage rate for independent home inspection and reinspection, and $85 for a pest inspection maximum. Relative issues from other assistance programs. There are plenty of home buyer assistance programs available offering a variety of assistance to first-time home buyers. State of Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs, TDHCA, periodically offers a mortgage loan program that is made available through the sale of tax-exempt bonds, with the proceeds being provided to income-eligible households at a reduced interest rate mortgage loan for first-time home buyers. Oftentimes, this program will provide additional funds for down payment and or closing costs equal to a preset percentage. TDHCA also offers a down payment and closing cost assistance program providing $7,500. Because these programs may be funded through federal sources, buyers are not allowed to stack funds from multiple funding programs. Buyers may use the word bond mortgage program offered through the state or local housing finance corporation in conjunction with the HAP assistance. Under no circumstances will the City of Galveston over-subsidize assistance provided to the buyer. The program only provides what is necessary to close the loan. Using a participating mortgage lender. Now that you have decided to purchase your first home, it is important that you work with a mortgage lender that will help you secure the loan for your new home. In general, contacting multiple mortgage lenders will not provide you with more buying power. Your monthly income and your monthly debt, how much money you make and how much you owe to creditors, will determine the amount of money you can borrow to purchase a home. When contacting a lender, you will need basic information about your household income, expenses, the most recent paycheck stub from your employer, statement from Social Security, SSI, child support court order, disability, retirement, etc., bank statement, and the most recent income tax return. This is not an all-inclusive list. Additional documents may be required. Most lenders require a small fee to cover the cost of the credit report. If after the mortgage lender issues the buyers a commitment letter, the buyer decides to change mortgage companies, the buyers must immediately notify the Grants and Housing Department. The transaction is halted until the buyers provide a copy of the new loan application, mortgage analysis qualifying worksheet, and a good faith estimate to the Grants and Housing Department. At that time, the Grants and Housing Department will transfer the assistance to the new lender providing the mortgage loan. Responsible lending. For the homeowner's protection, the following restrictions are placed on loan programs that the city will participate. Adjustable rate mortgages are not allowed. No interest, no asset loans, and negative amortization loans are not allowed. Interest-only loans are not allowed. No balloon notes. Interest rates are restricted to a no more than 1% above a paper market rate for the same programs. Closing costs are not to exceed 6% of the sales price unless an exception is approved. The 6% includes loan fees paid at closing, prepaids, escrows, and title company charges, but does not include discount points or financed mortgage insurance, and the HAP program has the right to deny funding if the buyer's current financial position represents too much of a credit risk or that the first lien program is not in the best interest of the buyer. Lender's agreement. Any mortgage lender can participate in the City of Galveston's Homebuyer Assistance Program, but must agree to the following items. Lender will uphold its fiduciary duties and responsibilities to client regardless of company representation. Lender will keep confidential any discussions, facts, or information about the home buyer that should not be revealed to others. Lender will be accountable for monies received from the home buyer. Lender will adhere to codes of ethics. Lender will refer potential participants in the program to the city's Home Buyer Assistance Program. Lender will uphold the spirit of the program, which is to help low to moderate income persons purchase homes by providing loan programs and interest rates, complement the program, and benefit the client. Lender will become familiar with the list of unacceptable loan programs. The lender will pre-approve the client as a prerequisite to the issuance of funds from the Home Buyer Assistance Program. Lender will charge normal and customary loan fees, and closing costs are less. The total settlement charges, less discount points, MIP, and items paid by the seller or lender should not exceed 6% of the sales price. The home buyer's ratios as calculated by the lender shall not exceed 31/43. Lender will understand that the city will not accept less than a second lien position. Lender will provide the city with a copy of the approval letter, the good faith estimate, the mortgage loan application, and the appraisal of the property. Lender understands that participation in the program can be disallowed if any of the above terms are not followed, or if any of the action taken by the lender is not in the best interest of the home buyer. The prior sentence contains the sole and exclusive remedy available to the city against the lender under this lender agreement. Hello, Jerri Sutherland with eXp Realty. I was going to try to wrap up this series, City of Galveston Homebuyer Assistance Program this week, but I still have a number of topics that I need to share with you as related to requirements and details of the program. Remember that opening the door to your first home will not be the easiest thing that you've ever done, but likely the most rewarding and memorable event for you and your family, achieving the American dream of home ownership. So join me next week, wrap up the series with resale provisions, recapture provisions, loan subordination, choosing a knowledgeable real estate professional, entering into a contract and contract requirements, the application process, preparation for closing, review, and the definition of gross annual income, net family assets as used to determine program eligibility. Thank you for your time.